Leslie! You've got such a little droopy lip because you're here. You looked quite surprised when your name was called out tonight.
Well, I was told, like, not even 2 days ago that the public had voted me the most entertaining House member, and so
you were our star of the show last week.
Well, that's when I was on my worst behavior. I allowed people to get to me. I was screaming and cursing and beating down the door. I guess that's entertainment. I don't know. Because then I thought...
That's the thing. Last week, you were the star of the show and you stayed in the house. This week, we've seen a much quieter Leslie.
Well, I just thought that behavior... I was afraid at any moment my mother, who's 80 years old, would have flown over and come down and said, I didn't raise him to act like that. He wasn't raised that way.
What went wrong for you? Where did the change come from?
Well,
from the kind of high drama Leslie to the almost slightly withdrawn from the house Leslie this week? Or from the hours that we've seen over the days?
Well, several times I was called to the diary room about my behavior, that there's acceptable tantrums. And then for some reason, someone can cut up your clothes, and that's acceptable.
We're going to go into the clothes cutting up a little bit later on. And we will be talking about that, trust me, because that was kind of one of the biggest parts of the series so far. But you're here because you received 5 nominations. Were you surprised by any of them? Of
the nominations?
Yeah, of who picked you?
No, I wasn't. I was surprised, oddly, at one point. That surprised me. I think he's just such a big guy. He said that I annoyed him, and I thought, do you even know I'm down here? We had never really had, there's not 2 more opposite people on the planet.
He seems quite calm as well.
He's
very
like
big
that.
And calm.
He's big and calm. I'm little and... and he's straight. I'm gay. I hope that's not...
What?
I'm coming out. Actually, I'm married with 5 children. No. I'm okay. But anyway, not to bring that into the equation, but I was very surprised then. And then one time I was called out for eating too much.
Yeah.
And...
well, you've been called out for that a few times.
A few times. And listen, honest to goodness, when James confronted me with that, it had never crossed my mind that I couldn't just eat whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So I think with things like that happen, you begin to say, okay, look, if I ask you, if you tell me something, that's an opinion. If 5 people tell you, then you have to start looking at it.
Yeah.
And so I think when that happened, I thought, am I that selfish? So I thought, well, I'll just kind of,
Did you take it on board?
I'll take all this on board, and I'll assess it, and there'll be a new, calmer, quieter Leslie, and now I've got the boot.
We were having a little chat in the break, and you said, my goodness, that was not what I expected.
Well,
so what did you expect? What did you sign up for? What did you think it would be?
I was so naive. I thought my friends that knew this show said, Leslie, go to YouTube and watch this show. And I did a little bit, but
Was that in a way of watch it and don't do it, or watch it before you
watch it so you can have some sort of strategy and have an idea of what you're up for. And I watched it, it made me nervous because I couldn't put myself in that equation. So I'd watch it and I think, oh, gosh, I really thought, I'm so naive, I thought that I was going to come in and it was just going to be an endless cocktail party with everyone. What I didn't know is it's soul boot camp. That's what it is.
It's something that at times pushed you to your limit. Very much so, I think.
I can count on my fingers. I had to put the plug in the jug about 17 years ago. I had to quit drinking. But
we've seen you talk about that. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to show you you in the house. Have a look at this, Leslie.
Oh, please.
Whilst you were watching that, you did seem quite genuinely shocked at yourself.
Oh, that's so hard. I could weep. That's really not me. It really isn't. Maybe I'll come back about a year from now, bring my one-man show. about this experience.
We might have another series in January, so you can come back if you want and give it another go.
I think my days are
As
done.
much as you look shocked and you seem genuinely upset that you had lost your temper, because as you said, you hadn't lost your temper in such a long time. As we said earlier on, whilst you were that Leslie, I don't know what that says about us as viewers, we kept you in the house, and the minute you calmed down,
Voted
they
most
booted you
entertaining.
out.
That's not entertainment. That's a sad little man to me. I don't
I
know.
think it's an adjustment period as well. You know, you're shoved in a house with 13 other people who have all different ways of lives from different walks of life, and you have to learn to adjust really quickly.
Really quickly.
And, you know, you live alone and you're sharing a house now with a bunch of other people.
I live alone. I'm on the road almost 8 months out of the year. I don't know what the other celebrities' lives are like, but I have been blessed with a true celebrity life in that there's a lot of red carpet, there's a lot of patting on the back.
You get pampered.
I get pampered. You know, I'm on the road 8 months out of the year. I do 44 venues, comedy clubs, this and that. I'm always alone. You know, people think, oh, well, you finish and there's all this applause, and then you go home to a hotel room. And they say, oh, how sad. No, that's wonderful for me. I need that. And then all of a sudden, all that was taken away. I couldn't even go up in what we call the pod without someone irritating me.
Let's talk about somebody that seemed to irritate you quite often and that you had a very stormy relationship with, and that's Frenchie. Tell me about the two of you in your relationship, because initially you seemed to get on okay.
Yeah.
And then it just all went wrong.
We shared a bed, and she has many rituals. There's a lot of zipping and unzipping, patting and oils.
Sniffing.
And it never stops. It never ends. Now she's sleeping like a baby, but I think those initial days when I had to share a bed with her, you know, just constant. And she began to get on my nerves, and then she pitched a fit in which she went in, and because someone took some of her food, she stomped on all our food.
Yeah.
She took all we had left was pasta and bread and stuff, and she stomped it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the one to discover it, but when I saw that, I thought, oh, wow. And that's when I went into her.
Because we know you like your food.
I love my food.
Yeah.
Little Fatty loves his food. And so Little Fatty then went in to French stripper, and I said, hard. Well, that's what she calls herself. No, she calls herself, I'm the Frenchie. You know, but I went in, and I said horrible things. Because I said to her, when I walked in, this is awful, but what I said to her initially, which wasn't on the thing, was I said, what happened to you as a kid? I mean, what creates this, that you're, you know, and she flew into me. I had maids. I grew up and I said, you're a gutter train. You know, it just went awful. And
you saw red.
I saw red and I said awful things. And then we went back in and I came in the bedroom. And believe it or not, I have my first boyfriend. I'm 60 years old. I've never had time for a boyfriend. And he had bought me some beautiful underpants and she had cut them up with a pair of scissors. She had sliced them to ribbons.
We saw that. And obviously Big Brother did talk to her about that.
Who knows? Because I held him up. Big Brother said, I assure you that you
No,
are...
they did. They called her into the diary room and they definitely had words. Do you think she realised that she took things too far then? And because she seemed calmer this week as well.
Exactly. I will say this. I will give her an A for effort. I think she knew. But then that temper flares a little bit. And she even said yesterday, don't attack me. I'll tear this house down.
Do you think she will flare again?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think she can help it. She's just, I mean, I have a temper, but not like that.
We've got to try and fit as much in as we can, and we have to ask you about Gary, because he also seemed to frustrate you quite a lot.
You know,
he seems to frustrate everybody.
Well, Gary, I adore now. I thought yesterday, how could I have... I thought if there's any apology when I walk out of here, because I've made my amends to Gary, we're fine.
Yeah.
It's maybe to his wife, you know, to have to watch the way in which I went off. He's very difficult. It's more than a hearing problem. You know, he's had accidents and it's hard. But another A for effort.
Yeah. He does, again, seems to be taking it on board.
He washes clothes. We had real problems with his hygiene. And you know what I thought to myself after it was all over? It's not Gary. I think that his wife or whoever has just said, Gary, shower. Gary, do this. time to, you know, clean yourself up.
He's
And
a man. He just needs to be told what to do, and he'll do it.
Exactly, and he's just sitting there, you know, when we're waiting on him hand and foot, and the first time I lost my temper with him, I've worked many times in what's called computer-generated imagery.
We saw this.
CGI.
We saw this.
He came up to me and said, "You're wrong. It's computer graphics something." And I said, "No, I don't think so."
We
He said, "You're wrong." And then I said something to him. I went off and said, "Bleh." And then he said, "You're a funny little man." And why would that get me? I'd rather be called little fatty than a funny little man. I don't know. It's the playground.
I'm so sorry, but we can't talk anymore.
Uh-oh.
But you are going to be a bit on the side with Rylan, and you're going to talk even more with him.
Okay.
But what we'd love you to do now is show you your best bits of your time in the house.
Oh, God.
Here you go.